back to the Mobility Project. On the mission today is to talk about internal rotation, the dreaded internal rotation deficit dysfunction disorder, disease-itis. What we're seeing in a lot of athletes is that we're missing the capacity to basically pull the barbell with elbows and shoulders back, straight up and down. In fact, a lot of coaches actually have to cue keeping the elbow pulling high because people are missing so much internal rotation on their pull that they're pulling backwards. So the coach is like, hey, you got to be pulling up. The problem is if I'm missing this internal rotation of my shoulder ends up coming forward into a very vulnerable soft tissue kind of supported position. This position destroys shoulders. We get loading through the shoulder. It translates through that loaded bicep tendon. Remember that this is where the side where bicep tendon fails in heavy deadlifts. If my shoulders are forward, I'm going to receive in a terrible position. My turnover is going to be slow. I have all kinds of problems. So basically, the test is if my shoulders back, I should be able to fully internally rotate and hold the barbell at my stomach, keeping the shoulders back in the socket where you can still see my traps. Most of us end up translating forward a little bit. If I'm on my back and someone pinned my shoulders down, boom, I should almost be able to internally rotate to the ground. I still haven't lost contact with my shoulder, but my hand is about 10 degrees from the ground. That's about where a barbell would be in my stomach. It's like God was an Olympic lifter, wanted you to be able to hold the barbell here. And then if I'm missing this position, then my turnover is slow, etc., etc. So if you anchor the shoulder really tight, and you shouldn't be stiff. So we should come all the way down. If you're missing this is a red flag because what you found was that you can be strong, but it's an ineffective position. So if you fatigue overhead, the next thing you have to do may be internally rotated positioning where you have to do something like stabilize overhead or do a ring dip, and it's just expensive. So here's what we do. Here's the first mode. Remember, mobilize in a good position. Shoulder gets pulled back by the band in the back of the socket, and I just slip my hand behind my back, and I can hang out here, contract, relax, wind up, take up some more slack. And what's nice about this is that I'm getting adduction, extension, and internal rotation all at once. So I really wind up. It's a big combined movement. This is a big monster. I can tie my head in here, keep hanging out, hang out. A super friend could help me in this position. This is the kind of version of the bully stretch that we do, but in this situation, I've got my shoulder back a little bit. So if you could rig up something where you've got the bully stretch and you're keeping your shoulder back, that's nice. In fact, the bully stretch always gives us a chance to kind of work those corners and turn away, work the corners, even using the bully stretch with the band. That's homework number one. Homework number two, we're going to go off a low rib. When we're going overhead, high ribs limit. When we're hand behind back, it's my capacity to kind of pull on these low traps, rhomboids, to pull my scapula down and back that allows this internal rotation to happen. So, if I put my hand behind my back, whoop, and slip that lacrosse ball in those low ribs along the border of the scapula. So anchor it there, getting stabbed in the back by myself, hand behind back, and then I can just roll around on some of those tissues. Capture some of that short tissue, oscillate back and forth. I can put some pressure here, even a kettlebell, and just rotate back and forth along the border of that scapula. It's awful. So this is a big deal. If we can get that turned back on, then often we get a lot kind of queuing back up because we've stabilized the scapula. Since I'm back here anyway, I might as well just take the brakes off my external rotators, which may be short because I've been doing this a bunch. So I can get here, tack that down. Those rise on the kind of lateral border of the scapula here. And I just put the ball there, and then I just internally rotate. And I can just hang out here and just move around, tack and stretch. Find the piece of the scapula that makes you want to vomit the most, and then stay there until you make change. And maybe 2 minutes. 2 minutes is kind of our minimum therapeutic dose idea to make change in the soft tissue. I can just roll around. Finally, last idea is that if I'm pinned forward, I'm doomed anyway. So I might as well take the brace off the front. And I can do that by walking that ball into the wall here, ungluing the pec, hand behind back though, so I'll tie the movement into what I'm actually trying to change in that tissue. And that's what makes this so much more effective than this. I've actually got my hand behind back that winds up that pec minor, winds up all those tissues in the front there, and then I can hang out, press in, I even catch that rib a little bit, take a big breath, oscillate, and what I should see is, whoop, hey, look at that. What a difference. Ease. That means I can pull, and when Mike Bergner tells me to finish, I can finish. We'll see you guys tomorrow.